More views on the Rojava administrations and on the Christians' fate in Rojava and Syria. Let's go now live to Sweden. Joining us from Stockholm, the President of the Syriac National Council, Mr. Bassam Ishak. Thanks for speaking to us, Mr. Ishak. Let me start asking you about the self-rule administrations of Rojava. What is your take on these administrations in which the Kurds, Christians and Arab are taking part?
First, I would like to greet the viewers. It's an honor to be with you this day. We are the Syriac Christians of Mesopotamia. We are very positive about the democratic self-administration. We think that it has come out in the right process, the process of negotiation and acknowledging each other. And we have expressed our views, and our views has been reflected in the social contract that has transpired. And we believe this is a way of the future. It's a way of building a new model. Different models have been, political models have been tried in our area, in Rojava, Mesopotamia. For a long time during the Ottoman empires, it was the religious model, and that failed in the turn of the 19th century. Then came the nationalistic model, and that has failed, as is apparent by the Syrian revolution. Now, in this new model in Rojava, Mesopotamia, we are attempting to build a model based on citizenship, on acknowledging identities rather than suppressing identities, a model of pluralism, and we believe a model of self-rule, of expression of the will of the people, and we believe that this is the way to build unity, to acknowledge the diversity that we have in our region and see it actually as a wealth for our area, and to build unity based and through these diversity.
Mm-hmm. To what extent are the rights of the Christians preserved in these administrations, Mr. Ishak?
Can I ask you to repeat the question, please?
To what extent are the rights of the Christians preserved in these administrations?
Well, first, I would like to say that we like to be identified as Syriacs. Mm-hmm. You know, we are Christians, yes, but we have a national identity, and this democratic self-administration is about acknowledging our identities. So we are Syriacs. This is one of the national groups of Mesopotamia. And we need, of course, as politicians who provide a vision for the people that will be a solution to their problems and a way for a better lives for them, we have to be able to reach out to our constituents and explain to them this vision and how it reflects their aspiration for dignity and freedom.
BYD's co-chair Salih Muslim said in an interview with the Daily Star that the people of Rojava are in need of Western support and expertise to consolidate the free society. Do you agree with Mr. Salih Muslim in this?
Well, yes, I agree that Western support, international support is needed. You know, in today's world, you need two kinds of supports to be able to gain legitimacy for a political project. First, you need the support of your constituents, the people in your area, and also you need the support of the international community. So in that sense, it's true what Mr. Salih Muslim has said. We need the support of the international community, and the West is an important part of this international community. We also need to explain our social contract and our political project to our neighbors, to our region, to the regional powers. One big part of this acceptance is to be able to explain our project to the West, to get political support, political acknowledgement, and to also get civil society in the West, which is very active and plays a big role in cultural development, to help us also in developing actually an old new culture, a culture that is based on the principles of democracy, the principles of human rights, the principles of citizenship.
Biggest threats facing many Christians in Syria are the armed groups who want to establish an Islamic State. Why didn't the US and other Western countries play a role in protecting Christians from these groups, Mr. Ishak?
Well, Western countries and even Eastern countries, I mean, look at Russia, for example. Their policies in the Middle East has not been an intervention on behalf of religious groups. Yes, we Syriacs, being Christians, we do enjoy a certain amount of sympathy in the West and even in Russia in the East. But that doesn't necessarily translate in the political world, and it does not necessarily translate into a direct intervention for protection. The responsibility of protecting communities lies first hand on the community itself and on its partners in the land that it occupies and lives on. So the responsibility of protecting the Christian lies on the Christians themselves in Syria, and lies, for example, in Rojava, Mesopotamia. It lies also in the Kurdish and in the Arabic communities. Unfortunately, what happened in Hasakeh in 2013, the Arab community in Hasakeh failed to protect the Syriacs of the city of Hasakeh, and we had thousands of families immigrating. Now, in the democratic self-administration, in the area from Malkiya all through Qamishli, Amuda, all the way to Ras Al Ain, now we are able, with the help of our partners in the region, our Kurdish brothers, we are able to provide the protection, and this is the ideal way. You cannot, as Iraq demonstrated to us, and before Iraq 100 years ago in Turkey during the Ottoman rule, it was demonstrated that attacks on Syriac Christians or Armenian Christians does not necessarily bring international direct military help.
Mr. Ishak, huge numbers of Christians in Syria have fled the country after the outbreak of the Syrian civil war. In the stable Rojava, the numbers are lesser. In this regard, the Kurdish officials have repeatedly urged the Christians not to flee their homes and resist. What is your perspective on this?
I agree with these pleas, and by the Kurdish officials. I actually congratulate them on this, because this is, as I mentioned before, is the duty of the partners in the land, is to provide protection and preserve the people in their areas, because every group in Rojava, in Mesopotamia, is a part of a rainbow. It's an important color, will play a significant and important and unique role in the development of our area. We need in Rojava, in Mesopotamia, to develop a model, and this model will be based on partnership rather than colonialism. This colonial thinking, colonial mentality, colonial culture is the one that wanted to impose uniformity on all Syrians, whether they were Kurds or Syriacs, Muslims or Christians. they wanted us all to be Arabs. And this is not the way you develop a genuine unity that is sustainable in a country. I thank those Kurdish officials for their true patriotism in calling on the Syriacs of Syria and the Syriacs of Mesopotamia to stay in their land and to continue this beautiful partnership between Syriacs and Kurds and Arabs.
And what is your vision for the future of Syriacs, Christians in general, in Rojava and in Syria, Mr. Ishak?
I have many Arab Muslim friends and Kurdish friends who tell me we cannot envision Syria without Syriacs and without Christians. And I agree with them. I cannot envision Syria without Kurds or without Arabs. We are, the three of us and many other groups are destined to live together. I believe we are destined by God to live together in this land. We all have history in it. We all have a marriage, a partnership, a legacy, and we need to perfect it. And I think the Syriacs and the Christians will play an important role in developing the kind of pluralism that is needed. I believe without variety, we will not be able to perfect a model that will satisfy the aspirations of the revolutions of 2011. Without this, the contributions of the Christians, we will not have, I believe, of the Syriac Christians, we will not have a genuine democracy in Syria. Any exclusion of anybody is not a practice of democracy and does not reflect the aspirations of the young Syrians who died in peaceful demonstrations for Syria, for all Syrians.
Bassam Saeed Ishak, the President of the Syriac National Council, you've been with us from Stockholm. Thank you very much for speaking to Ronahî.